Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for coming. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back. Appreciate you. Today I want to share with you 10 winter driving tips. Now, maybe not so much driving, but also somewhat a way of thinking when it comes to winter. We've got some cold weather moving in right now. We've got some snow coming as well. Obviously it's winter in Canada, but this has got me, this is our first little dip into like the minus 20 Celsius, 0 Fahrenheit, I guess is kind of close to that. And this has kind of got me thinking about, you know, preparedness in the winter driving aspect. Now I do a pretty good job of keeping my vehicles ready for winter, but it got me thinking about it, so I thought I'd share it with you. So I'm going to share 10 tips for winter driving. Number one, make sure your car is serviced. Make sure that you've checked your batteries, make sure you've checked all your lights, change your oil before winter, top up all your fluids, make sure you have an extra washer fluid, and make sure that you know of any leaks. Now, if you park on the snow, you're gonna know of the leaks, but just make sure that you've checked those out. Also, get used to looking under your hood. Get used to knowing how to add washer fluid, and get used to just kind of what everything is supposed to look like under there. If you get into a snowstorm and you've driven into the snow, a lot of times that snow will push into that engine compartment and it will seal that off. So you want to make sure that, you know, that hasn't happened. For one, you can just lift the hood and look and go, okay, no, it's clear under there, and close the hood and away you go. But the reason I say to get familiar with what's underneath your hood is that I have a Caravan, and it's a 2015. And on the passenger side of the radiator, there is a yellow square lid. And on the driver's side of the radiator, there is a yellow square lid. No words on them, just symbols. And one is washer fluid and one is coolant. And if you don't know what those symbols mean, you can have a bad day, because you don't want to be putting coolant in your washer fluid. And you sure as heck don't want to be putting washer fluid in your cooling system. So just get used to what you're seeing under there. If you want to check your oil, go ahead and check your oil. You know, you have an owner's manual, go ahead and read it. Or a lot of the vehicles now, I think, come with a DVD or something like that. Anyways, but just get familiar with it and be comfortable with it. Number two is winter tires. I can't say enough about winter tires. I know a lot of provinces mandate winter tires after October 1st. I don't know any of the laws in the States, but I'm sure that there are some states that mandate it as well. And I wasn't a firm believer in winter tires until I ran my first set. And I was probably 30-ish when I did that. I had a young family and I thought, you know what, let's give them a try. And, you know, we're putting on a lot of miles in the wintertime, and I've never gone back. They're just, yeah, it's total difference. So if you can run winter tires, run them, or run all weathers or something like that. If your state or province mandates it, you kind of have no choice anyways. But another tip with that is that when you go to get your seasonal tires changed, have a look at the brakes. Make sure that they're doing it if you're getting someone to change your tires for you, and make sure that you get a report back on that. And just make sure they don't charge you for it either, because it's free to just have a look with a flashlight. Number three, I'm going to check these off as I go, because otherwise, oh, my pen doesn't work. There we go. So number three, I can't say it enough, and I say it all the time, and you've heard it from me before, but it costs the same amount to fill the top half as it does to fill the bottom half of your fuel tank. Keep your fuel full. I know. Everybody hates that, right? But you know what? If you get into a situation where you need to run your vehicle for an extended period of time, you don't want to have 1/8 of a tank of fuel. It's a bad idea, and you're going to have a bad day. So use half in the wintertime as your empty gauge, and just do it all year round. Don't even worry about it. It costs the same. Just do it, okay? Tank always full. Number four, we are going to get ourselves a nice quality ice brush, snow brush, and ice scraper. And get one that's telescopic, you know, the quarter turn Swiffer kind of idea. And then if you're in a place that has a lot of snow, get the one that has the brush across the handle so that you can actually use it to pull the snow off and you don't have to reach way up and try and scoop it off. We all know that knucklehead that drives down the highway with 2 feet of snow on his SUV. Yeah, I hate that guy. That guy's just lazy. And it's also, you know, a liability issue. It can be, I guess. If that 3 or 4 cubic feet of snow comes off of his vehicle, it now creates a visibility issue on the highway. And if there's a layer of ice in there, now it creates like a damage situation. It's like a sheet of plywood blowing off the roof of your vehicle. So if it hits another vehicle, it's going to cause some damage. It might even kill somebody. So just make sure that it's clean. Clean your windows, check your lights, clean everything off, brush all the snow off, and carry on with your way, on your way. All right, enough harping on that. Next thing is wiper blades, washer fluid. So know what happens with wiper blades. If you have ever seen your wiper blade that's got a little tag hanging off of it, flapping in the breeze, that wiper blade is it's garbage. And we get a little rambunctious with the ice scraper sometimes and we'll cut an end off. Now that wiper blade is garbage. So either 1, learn how to change them, or 2, just make sure you ask when you go in, because most auto parts stores will come out and they'll change them for you at no cost. Walmart, Canadian Tire, Bumper to Bumper, Napa, they'll all do it. Any dealership will do it. And you just have to ask and be adamant that they do have time. All right. So make sure that your washer fluid is topped up and make sure that your wiper blades are in good condition. Okay, number 6, drive with a light foot. Learn how to drive with a light foot, whether it's acceleration or braking, and leave yourself lots of space, lots of time. There's no rush. So just learn how to drive light acceleration and light brake. Number 7 is have a plan for your trip. So it doesn't matter if you're just heading to the next town 10 miles down the road or if you're heading out on a 2 or 3 hour journey. Leave yourself lots of time to get there. And as you're going, leave yourself lots of space between vehicles. Now, I know AMA and some of those, recommend, 10 seconds between vehicles. Nobody's got time to count how far away they are. So try and leave about, 5 to 6 vehicle lengths between you. Try not to get in a situation where you're jammed up. It's really hard when you're in the cities to not do that, but out on the highways, you can definitely do that. And if that means you got to drive a little bit slower, then you drive a little bit slower. Always be watching out for snow plows and emergency vehicles, and know what to do when you come up on those guys. Snow plows, just stay behind them. Don't try and pass them, especially if you're in an area where the wind really blows, like where I'm at, because there is a whiteout condition that happens and you will not be able to see anything around a snowplow, like zero. And when it comes to tow trucks and emergency vehicles, you gotta slow down and get over and give them guys lots of room, because there's nothing worse than people just flying by them on the highway, and especially in the wintertime, because anything can happen and it's just bad day. So be patient, leave early, and have a plan for where you're going and your stops that you're going to make. All right, number 8 is practice driving. I better mark these down or I'm going to forget where I'm at. Practice driving. So we've all been 6 or 7 months of spring, summer, beautiful, windows down, AC on, not a care in the world. And now we've got to pay attention again. So get your butt out to a community center or an abandoned parking lot somewhere. Don't do it where there's a lot of vehicles, an empty parking lot somewhere, and learn how to slide and learn how to take off and learn how to brake and learn how to do all those things again. And, learn the threshold of when your vehicle's going to break traction when you turn, how hard you can turn, and all those sorts of things. And, obviously you're going to want some snow and ice on the ground, but, and you might have to do this at 8 o'clock at night. And don't get mad at those kids that are out there doing that, because those kids are learning how to drive. And, as long as they're not wrecking anything, they're not hurting anything either. So be one of those kids and go out and learn how to drive on ice again. Now, one quick little tip that I'm going to share with that number 8 is that when you are braking and you drive, it doesn't matter what you drive, automatic or manual, practice this. When you go to stop, bump your vehicle into neutral. Now, if you've got a column shift like this, you can just bump it up into neutral out of drive. Obviously, you're going to have your foot on the brake and your foot off the gas, right? And if you have a floor shift, you're going to bump it into neutral. Now, most vehicles, some don't, so this is why we need to practice it, but most vehicles you can bump from drive into neutral and they will not go into reverse unless you move the shifter to one side and up, or you push the button and go out of neutral into reverse. So you shouldn't be too concerned about that. And if your foot's not on the gas, you don't need to worry about it anyways, but know your vehicle and practice that. And if you go practice that and you actually do it, put it down in the comments that you did it and tell me if I'm full of shit or whether or not it helped you slow down more efficiently. And I can guarantee you that it's going to help you slow down more efficiently, especially if you get into a situation where you've already slid and you can bump that vehicle into neutral. It stops your transmission and your engine from trying to drive your wheels forward, and it releases tension on your driveline and allows your brakes to work more efficiently and slow you down a little bit quicker anyways, and maybe a little bit safer. Just don't forget that once you do get stopped, you got to put that thing back into drive again. Now, I'm not talking about doing this on the highway. I'm talking about doing this in town. So at 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, whatever it is. If you're going that fast up to an intersection, you probably should analyze that first. But anyways, try it. Let me know. Number 9 is carry an emergency kit and carry an EDC bag. Now, I know in the prepper world, everybody likes to use EDC, but basically it's just a take-along bag that's going to have your extra things in it. So whether that's your medication that you need for the day, water, some snacks, battery for your charger, or an extra battery for your phone, an extra cord for your phones, anything like that you know that you're going to need. You know, an extra pair of socks. If you get out of your vehicle and you step in a mud puddle, it's just nice to have an extra pair of socks, right? Like just something like that. And that's the bag that you're going to take with you like all the time. So you just make sure that that's ready to go. And anytime that you're going to go on a trip, that bag goes in the vehicle. But then it comes back in the house because you don't want to leave your water out in the wintertime. So emergency stuff. So for every seat that you have in your vehicle, have an extra blanket or have a blanket in your vehicle for that seat. Doesn't matter if you have one kid or whether you're full. But you could be having somebody with you, right? You can be going to a hockey game or whatever, or the neighbor asked you to take their kid to the game or figure skating or whatever it is, and you have a problem and there's not enough blankets for everybody in the vehicle. So good rule of thumb, the amount of seats that you have in the car, have those blankets, have a toque and mitts or gloves for those seats as well. A lot of people aren't prepared, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can help by being that person. Have a flashlight with good batteries in it. And in your EDC bag, you could probably have a flashlight in there as well, right? So foldable shovel is a good thing to have in the wintertime. You don't always need it in the summertime, so it can come out, but have a foldable shovel. An extra jug of washer fluid, always important. You can get these little emergency kits that have like flares or a triangle and candles and stuff in them. Those are great too. Have one of those in there. You know, they're maybe 3 inches by 3 inches or whatever. Just throw them in your glove box. It doesn't ever hurt to have those. And throw some snacks in your glove box too. So if you like granola bars, trail mix, things like that, some calories, because if you end up that you're going to have an extended stay in your vehicle could be for, you know, a couple hours, or it could even be overnight. Having some calories in there will help you, you know, keep your energy up and maybe help you keep warm. So it doesn't hurt to have some snacks in the vehicle as well. And if you have kids with you, snacks are going to help keep them quiet just a little bit longer, so you can, you know, focus and get things handled. Number 10 is have a plan for the emergency. So it's not so much as having the gear for the emergency as it is to have the plan for the emergency. So one, if you hit the ditch, you're going to want to, if you're going to be there for a while, and maybe you're waiting for a tow truck even, and it could be 45 minutes to an hour, things can get cold pretty fast. So I know that everybody, make sure you can get out of the vehicle. So make sure your door opens, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're blocked in. So if you can, make sure that your door opens. If you know you're going to be there for a bit, maybe get out and take your shovel and scoop out an area around your exhaust so that it has a place to go. The last thing that we want is for you to get carbon monoxide poisoning because you ran your vehicle for a while. And yeah, we don't need to hear about you on the news. Also, if you have to run your vehicle, run it for short spurts, but make sure that you're keeping the temperature up. Don't let it sit for 45 minutes and then start it again. So like run it like every 15 minutes or so, and make sure that the temperature comes up again so that you can maintain that heat, because the last thing you want to do is start that vehicle up after it's been off for 45 minutes and turn the heater on, because everybody's going to want to, because now they're cold, and man, you just get a solid cold blast of air, and that's coming right from outside. So just make sure that you're maintaining that, and just keep that in mind. Like every 15 minutes, I got to start my car. Depends on how cold it is too. Have a flag to put on your antenna. Now, I know a lot of vehicles nowadays have that stupid shark fin on the top. They don't have an actual antenna, that whips in the wind. But if you have a tennis ball or something like that, you can cut a little slit in it, and then you can squeeze it and it'll open. You can put that on your antenna. So in the event that you went down into a ditch and you got out and you got rescued, but maybe not your car, and you got taken to town, and then all of a sudden the wind blows in and it blows a massive drift over your vehicle, well, at least you know where it is, right? Because there's a green tennis ball sitting out there. Now, you can do that on the shark fin too. You just have to cut a longer slit and then slide it on there, just so that you can find your car again. Sometimes it's dark outside and we don't know exactly where we are on the planet. And so when we come back the next day, we can find it again. Practice staying in your car. I know, nobody wants to do that. But when it's summertime out, rough camp in your car one night. Just do it once, twice maybe, and just get used to how everything folds down and everything works. And maybe you can do it from inside. If you have to make an extended stay in your vehicle overnight, you might as well try and be as comfortable as you can. The more comfortable you are, the less panicked you'll be, and you'll have, I'm not going to say a better time, but yeah, I guess it's a better time. So give that a try and practice that. So that's my 10. I know we could talk at length about all of those things, and we could add things to them, and I could go on and on and on, but I think I've been on for about 14 minutes now. So that's probably long enough for this video. If somebody wants to break this down and goes point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, yeah, absolutely, go ahead and do that. Fire that in the comments too. That's fine. Doesn't matter. You don't need to listen to me jabber on. But anyways, I appreciate you coming to have a listen. Remember that there's always more than one way to do things. This is just my way of doing things. Thanks for coming out today. I appreciate all of you. We'll see you for the next one.